Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back to Credit Card Madness. Now this is going to be our Elite 8 show. So of course we were going to recap the Sweet 16 that you voted on last week and set up our Elite 8 for we can continue the tournament, getting ever closer to crowning a champion. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now of course, if you're new here, then Credit Card Madness, as the name implies, is the channel's credit card tournament. We do it every March for the entire month of March. This is largely based on the NCAA college basketball tournament that's also tipping off right now as well, where we have 16 cards picked by you, the viewer at home, and they compete in a single elimination until we crown one champion. So that's where we're at. Last week you voted on the Sweet 16, so we were going to preview that or show you how that broke out, and then we'll show you the new bracket for the Elite 8. So that's what we've got going on today. Of course, I will link the other two videos down below, or the playlist down below that we're building, in case you want to get caught up. So that is where we were at. We will waste no time. If you put the bracket on screen here so you can quickly remember where we were at, or pick up if you missed the last two. Again, these are your 16 cards. They were seeded based on how many votes they got in the qualifying round. So, of course, the gold card was your automatic qualifier because it's the defending champion, so it's a 1 seed. And the 16 seed, the Blue Cash Everyday, was our fan vote, wild card write-in, if you will. Everyone else had to qualify by getting votes. So their seeding is based on how many votes they got. So this was the bracket for the Sweet 16 that you voted on. So if we start right here with our first matchup. Our first matchup saw the Amex Gold card at number 1 versus the Amex Blue Cash Everyday. You know, infighting for sure, but in the end, it was no match. The gold card pulls it out, 74.7% of the vote. Pretty easy victory for our defending champion. Now, if we move to the second matchup, Capital One Venture X coming in at number 2 versus the Amex Blue Business Plus at number 15. Again, Amex puts up a decent fight, but it just wasn't close. Venture X comes out with 74.4% of the vote. Now we move to the number 3 matchup, which saw Chase Freedom Flex versus the City Double Cash. Double Cash was a little bit surprising of an entry, if we're being honest, at number 14. Unfortunately, its run is over. Freedom Flex comes out with 74% of the vote. Next up, we have match number 4, which saw the Chase Sapphire Preferred going up against its namesake, the Sapphire Reserve. Big brother versus little brother. Little brother still has some new tricks because Sapphire Preferred advances 74% of the vote. Match number 5, so the Amex Platinum, the inaugural champion in 2021, in a lower seed than it's used to, came in at a 5 seed this time versus Discovery Cash at a number 12. Despite the lower seed, Platinum still hasn't lost a step. 66.4% of the vote is good to advance to the Elite 8. Next, we have match number 6, which sees the City Custom Cash at number 6 versus the Amex Hilton Aspire card. This one will surprise a lot of folks, but not me. Custom Cash comes out at 60.6% of the vote to move on. Match number 7, Freedom Unlimited, a card that was snubbed last year and I heard about it forever, comes in at number 7 versus Capital One Saber One at a 10. We have our first upset of the day. Saber won 63%, a sound victory over the Freedom Unlimited that everyone was so mad that I left off last year. Next up, we have match number 8, Chase Amazon Prime versus the Wells Fargo Built Rewards at number 9. This was our closest one. Amazon by the slimmest of margins, 51.6% of the vote. And so there you have it. That is how the matchups went for the Sweet 16. So we'll do some quick commentary, then we'll talk about the Elite 8. Now overall, I think most people know how I voted. Surprisingly, I did vote for the Amex Gold card, which would surprise you, but it is arguably Amex's best membership reward point earning card, and I do try to be somewhat objective. Now, I did vote for the Custom Cash. I think that was the more surprising matchup for most people. To overanalyze this like you would if you were really on TV, talking about this like the color commentator, I do think that the Hilton survey, the Hilton Aspire survey that went out 2 weeks ago now actually affected this. It's been long since rumored that they're going to raise the annual fee from $450 to $550 and add in a bunch of coupons like Amex is known for. It's a survey and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but realistically it will probably happen. We've seen all these cards get more expensive, and I do think that probably played a part. If that survey had come out later, then I think that the results would be a little bit different. Custom Cash is still a really good card though and can hold its own, so Not overly surprised there. I did vote for the Custom Cash, of course. I did Freedom Flex, Sapphire Preferred. I think I voted for the Venture X as well. Venture X, I think, is just going to be on a run. Like that's the card to beat, despite it not being a defending champion. But being a 2 seed is no shame in that. The Saber one kind of surprised me a little bit. I do think the Saber's a really good card. I just think it gets forgotten because Capital One doesn't push that. You can partner it with the Venture X. It also gets confused because they have the $95 annual fee one that makes no sense at all, considering that it's just 1 point better. So $95 isn't worth that. And given how Capital One treats people and customer service with questions and stuff, I thought that would have played a part. But no, it pulls out as well. Now, of course, the close one here was Amazon versus Built. If I would have let the voting go a little bit longer, there was about 290 some odd votes when I closed it. Or I leave it open, but I basically take a snapshot Monday. So I go ahead and get everything set up. If you would have waited a day or two, it easily could have flipped. I think Built's a really good card. I was surprised to see it a little bit because, again, they've been in the news as of late. They made a huge campaign push, and they had all those compromised card numbers. They did their best to make it right. Yeah, so maybe that helped. But they've been pushing pretty hard with those Built Rewards days. So I think it was good to see that wasn't really held against them. They didn't get, stained because they were now associated to Wells Fargo. At least that's how I think. Again, in the over-analysis section. But Amazon Prime card is just the best co-branded card in the world of cashback, period, full stop. So overall, pretty good results there. Mostly chalk. Two upsets basically. Custom Cash was technically a higher seed, so it's not an upset, but you could kind of see how it was. So, anyways, that's how it broke out. Now we have the Elite 8 coming up next, so we will talk about these matchups. I'll tell you how to vote. I'll tell you what's coming up next. So, getting back into it. Again, you're going to have a few matchups. Let's talk about them. The first matchup now, and matchup number 1, is going to be the number 1 seed defending champion Amex Gold, squaring off against the Amazon Prime card at number 8. Next up, you're going to have another infighting session in match number 2. Capital One Venture X at a 2 seed squares off against the Capital One Saber 1 at the 10 seed. Next match number 3, Chase Freedom Flex at number 3 versus the City Custom Cash at number 6. That's going to be a hard choice right there. And then you have probably the most interesting match on the board, match number 4, the Chase Sapphire Preferred at number 4 versus the Amex Platinum at number 5. So overall, if you take a look at the bracket, this is how everything shapes up now in your Elite 8. Again, I'll give my color commentary next week. I know how I'm going to vote. If you watch the show a lot, you know how I'm going to vote as well. I'm very interested in these matchups, though, because people could be very strategic with this based on who you want to advance. That could influence your vote as well. So let's talk about voting now. So, of course, there will be a Google Forms link down below. You do have to sign into your Google account to vote. You get 1 vote. That's why you have to sign in, but I don't get your email or anything like that. Simply put, just vote for whichever one you want to win. Those will be those 4 matchups. And then, of course, we'll be back here next Tuesday to talk about the Elite 8 and set up the Final Four as we get ever closer to that championship round in probably the first or second week of April. So, overall, again, I'm pretty interested in this round. I think it's shaping up nicely. You can vote however you want. Like I said, if you don't want to see another card in the next round, then you could change your vote around. Get strategic with it. You could vote for whichever one this card looks the best. Really, it's however you want to, whatever makes the tournament fun for you. So anyways, guys, that has been it. Sweet 16 is closed. Elite 8 is now on. Voting is open down below. So as they say in Texas, go ahead, vote early, vote often. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, go ahead, get subscribed so you don't miss out because we're doing this the whole month of March and help us crown a winner. Anyways, guys, that's been it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you right here next Tuesday for the Final Four matchups.